All right, welcome back. When you think about legal power, you probably picture massive, complex documents, right? Stacks of paper filled with jargon. But today, we're going to deconstruct something entirely different. A single sentence. A sentence so perfectly crafted, it literally acts as an impenetrable legal fortress. I mean, that sounds a little crazy, doesn't it? In a world of thousand-page contracts and endless litigation, how could one sentence possibly hold that much power? Well, let's dive in and find out.
And here it is, Section 32.2 of the Bass-Pike lease. At first glance, right, it looks like total boilerplate. It's the kind of language you or I would probably just skim right over. But trust me, hidden in plain sight here is an absolute masterpiece of legal defense.
And I'm not just saying that. Listen to what property rights attorney Alexandra Rivera has to say about it. She calls it extraordinary legal engineering masquerading as routine language. This is what experts call a sophisticated transfer trap, and it's designed to lock in obligations that are nearly impossible to escape.
Okay, so how on earth does it actually work? Well, this sentence isn't just one wall. It's a whole series of interlocking defenses. We're going to peel back the layers one by one to really see the brilliant legal architecture hidden inside. So, layer one, this is what I'm calling the federal shield. What's so brilliant about this is that it doesn't even invent something new. Nope. It just cleverly hijacks an existing federal law and turns it from a general protection into a very specific contractual weapon. This first layer is all about a law called the Protecting Tenants at Foreclosure Act, or PTFA. Now, this law already requires new owners to honor existing leases after a foreclosure, which, of course, brings up a really important question. If the law already says this, why even bother restating it in the contract?
And that is where the genius comes in. According to attorney Jennifer Lawrence, by doing this, the lease creates a double binding mechanism. See, now, a new owner isn't just on the hook because of federal law, they're also bound by the explicit terms of the contract they've inherited. It's like having two locks on the same door. It's much, much harder to break through.
Okay, let's build on that. Layer 2 is all about playing offense. It's a preemptive strike designed to shut down one of the most common legal defenses before it can even get off the ground. It's called the estoppel trap. This is some next-level legal foresight. Because the clause says the lease transfers, any new owner is legally prevented or estopped from ever coming back and saying, "Oh, I didn't know about that lease." Just by buying the property, it's as if they've already signed on the dotted line. The contract itself becomes the evidence.
And experts Thomas Chen and Miguel Sanchez just hit the nail on the head here. This isn't just another clause in a contract. It's a litigation-proofing mechanism. It basically slams the door shut on the single most common excuse in the book, the "I didn't know" argument, right from the very beginning. All right, layer 3. This is where things get physical. We're moving beyond just words on a page and into the real world, making it literally impossible for a new owner to claim they just didn't see it. The legal term for this is amplified constructive notice, but here's what it means in practice. In this situation, the transfer clause was backed up by physically posting legal documents in the property's windows. So knowledge of the lease wasn't just a contractual detail. It was a publicly visible fact. You couldn't miss it if you tried.
And get this. This isn't just some clever trick they came up with. It's built on a rock-solid legal foundation. Courts in Idaho have consistently said, yep, if it's publicly available or physically visible, that counts as legal notice. So this whole strategy is firmly grounded in legal precedent, making it that much stronger.
This brings us to the final and maybe the most elegant layer. It solves a classic legal puzzle. You see, for a contract to be binding, you usually need a direct relationship between the people involved. So what happens when a property changes hands? Well, this clause has a brilliant answer. The solution is a fascinating concept called constructive privity. The way the sentence is written, the obligations of the lease literally run with the land. Think of it like a permanent feature of the property, like the foundation or the roof. It doesn't matter who owns it. The obligation is still there, instantly creating a binding relationship with any new owner.
Okay, so now for the really cool part. Let's see how all of this comes together. Because these 4 layers aren't just stacked up, they're woven together to create this incredibly strong, almost unbreakable defense.
This framework really lays it all out. You can see how each piece just snaps into place and supports the others. The contract triggers the federal law, the estoppel trap makes sure you can't deny the contract, the public signs make it impossible to say you didn't see it, and then privity makes the whole thing stick to whoever buys the place. It's just a perfect system.
And that's why property defense specialist Victoria Chang uses the perfect analogy. She calls it a legal Gordian knot. It's a complex tangle where you can't just find one weak spot and pull the thread. Every thread is connected to every other thread. It's designed to be impossible to unravel.
But what really takes us to another level is the sheer foresight. It's like the person who wrote this was playing chess, thinking 5 moves ahead, anticipating exactly what challenges might be thrown at it.
Just look at this table. It shows exactly how they anticipated the counterattacks. So you think you can argue there's no direct contract, no privity? Nope, the clause created it. Think you can argue the terms are unfair or unconscionable? Sorry, the lease is based on standard reasonable terms. And if you point out the lease wasn't formally recorded, well, the public notices took care of that. Every single escape hatch is sealed shut.
So after deconstructing this one simple sentence, what's the big lesson here? What should we really take away from this masterclass in legal engineering?
I think property rights advocate Thomas Jenkins just nails it. The real power here isn't in some super complex 50-page document filled with confusing jargon. It's the exact opposite. It's about strategic simplicity. It's using basic, clear principles and just positioning them perfectly for maximum effect.
And honestly, that's the most revolutionary part of this whole thing. This isn't some exotic legal theory only a handful of people can use. It's a model of defensive depth built from fundamental concepts. It shows that smart, strategic thinking can be an incredible equalizer, especially for individuals up against huge institutional opponents.
And that really leaves us with one big question to think about. In a legal system that so often feels impossibly complex, could it be that strategic simplicity, knowing how to use the simplest tools to build the strongest fortress, is actually the ultimate form of power?